It's your girl Queen Dee Dee. Yep, with Dee Dee said it. I'm coming to you today because I'm kind of concerned here. And I'm concerned on more than one level. I'm concerned on the level for the people, but I'm also concerned on the level because of myself. But let's listen into this story. It's Sacramento mother discovers Catholic cemetery move daughter's grave without notification. This particular story has 1.5 thousand likes, 404 comments, 75,000 views, and it comes from CBS News. This particular news station has 178,000 subscribers. So I can see here is, I guess, CBS News 13. You have to be kidding me. But let's listen in to what this mother has to say about her daughter's grave being moved without notification. This video is 5 minutes and 9 seconds long. Knowing me, I'll give about 4 minutes of my time. I'm gonna round it out to even numbers today. Let's listen in.
Anatoma's mom says the cemetery moved her daughter's grave and never bothered to tell her.
I told her, look, lady, I've been coming to the cemetery almost 20 years visiting my daughter. I know exactly where she should be, and she's not where she's always been.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Marley Ginter.
And I'm Curtis Mang. Tonight, this mother knows exactly what she wants from the cemetery. After all, she says it feels like her daughter was just taken from her all over again.
I mean, it's the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Halloween night 2008.
I can't even deal with Halloween anymore.
A drunk driver swerved off the road in West Sacramento, killing 17-year-old Jessica Ferrari. The River City High senior was buried at Sacramento St. Mary's Catholic Cemetery. When you buried your daughter 16 years ago, you thought that was going to be her final resting.
Of course, yes. I thought that's where she was going to be. I watched my daughter being lowered in the ground.
For years, Sonia visited her daughter's grave weekly, centered right in front of this bench. The visits became more sporadic on anniversaries and drop-ins. During a September drop-in, something was very different.
And then as soon as I got out the car, I saw, because she used to be placed directly in the center of that bench, and now she's way over to the left.
This green marker shows a man who died in April is freshly buried there.
His marker is right exactly where my daughter's used to be.
She says a staffer in the office denied it.
And then the lady giggled and said, "We don't do that here. That's crazy. We don't do that."
What went through your mind when that's how she responded?
Oh, I got so mad, because it's like, how are you going to tell me that when you obviously did?
Did you guys move her whole body?
And I told her, well, I want to know, did you move her body? Did you move just the headstone? Like, what exactly got moved? I want to know. And she was just saying that they don't do that. They would never do that.
Have you heard of cemeteries just moving graves?
Yes,
Why? Why would they do that?
because sometimes they've buried somebody in the wrong grave.
Death care expert Valerie Rose, who teaches for the funeral program at American River College, says sometimes mistakes are also made when measuring plots.
Ethically, a cemetery is going to always tell the family members what's happened. Regardless of what the outcome is, they're going to tell them, and in truth, they have to kind of give them the choice if that's going to happen or not.
Nobody told you.
Nobody.
How egregious is that?
Well, it's pretty egregious. It's incredibly unethical.
The Catholic Diocese of Sacramento owns the cemetery. Sonia says a staffer finally fessed up last week, saying the cemetery moved her daughter's grave over several inches to make room for the man who just died.
I said, if you guys mismeasured, you're finally finding that out 16 years later. You finally realized? And she said, well, the person just passed away. And she said, well, maybe they bought the plot before you did. And so we had to move her.
And she says they offered to polish her daughter's headstone.
I told her, and do you honestly think that that makes it better? Do you think it makes me feel any better? And she said, well, I can tell that nothing I say to you is going to make you feel better. And I said, you're absolutely right.
The cemetery CEO, Jerry Delcor, has apologized and tells me while the oversight was unintentional, we take full responsibility. And I'm working with my staff on procedures that will ensure that it's an error we won't make again. He adds that Jessica's grave was not relocated and did not leave the earth, nor was Jessica's casket or the vault that contains it opened. With the utmost care and dignity, Jessica's vault was shifted approximately 2 to 4 inches to create space for a decedent to be interred in the adjacent location.
What if they did call you and tell you they had to do this?
I would have definitely wanted to be there. Well, they did it. I would have been upset still. However, I would have understood. It wouldn't have been such a blow to just be so blindsided.
If you hadn't gone there and spotted it yourself, do you think you would ever know this happened?
No, I would have never known. I would have never known.
Well, the family now has an attorney. They spent the weekend thinking about what they want now and decided they don't trust their daughter at St. Mary's anymore. They want Jessica exhumed and cremated so they could hold on to her remains. And they want St. Mary's to cover the cost, refunding them for the plot, the headstone, and their daughter's casket.
Wow, Curtis. I mean, her daughter's grave and never bothered to tell her.
I told her, look, lady, I've been coming to the cemetery almost 20 years visiting my daughter. I know exactly where she should be, and she's not where she's always been.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Marley Ginter.
And I'm Curtis Vang. Tonight, this mother knows exactly what she wants from the cemetery. After all, she says it feels like her daughter was just taken from her all over again.
I mean, it's the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Halloween night 2008.
I can't even deal with Halloween anymore.
A drunk driver swerved off the road in West Sacramento, killing 17-year-old Jessica Ferrari. The River City High...
That's the first part of this hurt. The first part of the hurt is this lady had to go through something so traumatic in her life. I don't know how many kids she had, but as being mothers and parents, I don't know a heart that feel good with burying their kids first. That's where soft skills come from. Soft skills come from both parties at that point, because that's a part of a person's heart. That's a part of your heartbeat. That's a part of your mindset, your children, you know, your family members, even friends that you grow to love like that. But let's keep it all the way truthful. It could be one of you, and I walk up and see you hurting, and you all know me, the ones that do know me, I'm a bucket of tears. My heart started hurting so much because sometimes people look at, oh, she's 6'2", she a big girl, she can handle it. No, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And just listening to this story, it sends me in a panic. My heart goes out to this mom. I mean, just for even the initial death that you had to endure for the last almost 20 years and continuously go and visit your daughter's gravesite.
Was buried at Sacramento's St. Mary's Catholic Cemetery.
When you buried your daughter 16 years ago, you thought that was going to be her final resting.
Of course.
Of course she thought that was going to be her final resting spot. I mean, sometimes I'm not going to beat him up to a core, but in the same breath, don't ask stupid questions, stupid. It's a stupid question. I mean, who would think that they would bury a loved one to have to keep coming back every other month to find the body over here? We're going to find the body over there. I mean, goddamn, we don't go and get that many grocery stores in different locations. When you're set right there, you're set right there. It's not the same. So, of course, when she buried her daughter, did you not hear her say that she's been visiting her daughter's gravesite for the last 18, 20 years? Why would she at any point assume anything differently, even from the initial burial? Yes, she's expecting for this to be the home. She expecting for this is where I'm going to come and visit my daughter, because I have nowhere else to visit her but in my heart. I mean, this is my point. I'm not going to dwell on that, but don't ask stupid questions. Ask stupid questions, and that's what we tend to do sometimes. But being that we're in the middle of an interview, I'm going to kind of let him slide a little bit.
Yes, I thought that's where she was going to be. I watched my daughter being lowered in the ground.
For years, Sonia visited her daughter's grave weekly, centered right in front of this bench.
Weekly. And look, you can tell she even took a picture of it. And someone would actually fix their trap and literally say, that they didn't do anything wrong. Once she contacted the funeral home, not the funeral home, the owners of the graveyard, the Catholics, and you would actually say that you didn't do it, and you seen she just had pictures of this same thing, all of that looked fresh from 20 years ago. There was no grass, there was nothing. You have to be kidding me that people honestly look in your face and say stuff like that.
Do that here? That's crazy. We don't do that.
What went through your mind when that's how she responded?
What went through your mind when she responded like that was, are you literally sitting in my face, and are you really calling me crazy? Are you calling me stupid, or are you calling me a liar? Like, which one of those are you insulting me by saying? In so many words of not saying, oh, we don't do stuff like that. You don't? So in other words, you're calling me crazy. In other words, you're saying that I probably can't come to this graveyard and walk to my daughter's gravesite with my eyes closed and still make it to where I need to be. Imagine that. I can walk to her gravesite. I've been coming here the last 18, 16, 20 years, and I can walk and go exactly where I need to be. And you really think I need my eyes open for it? And you would sit in my face, humiliate me, tell me a LIE, and then giggle about it as well? That's the first thing that people do. It's very inconsiderate. And I always say, people, it's easier to do things to other people. It's easier to say things to other people. But by God, let it be said or done to you. This is where people not understanding. When it's done to you, then you can start getting a feel of how someone feels. The reason why I'm kind of upset about this story is because y'all may think I'm joking. And one thing that I don't like to do to the people is tell you a LIE. But let's listen in real quick on this part.
And she was just saying that they don't do that. They would never do that.
They don't do that, and they would never do that. I find it so surreal. I find it so surreal because there was a homeless guy. His name is Alan Brown. Everybody was scared of Alan Brown, but for some reason, he was another person to me. And I took care of this homeless guy for years, even loved him so much until I was even willing to move him in my house. He wouldn't even come and live with me. I would pass by him, and I promise you, he would take his hand and he would put his hand on his heart to me, just like this, and blow me a kiss and open his arms so wide. And I said, boy, how does it feel? It feels so good to have someone just conditionally love you, and they really don't even know you. He didn't used to beg me for anything. Alan asked me for nothing. I used to have to make him come to my restaurant to get dinner. I used to try to give him food free. He wouldn't even take it. When he passed away, and I didn't even know it because I was in the process of moving, he passed away within 3 to 5 days of me not seeing him. He was sleeping under a tree, and the spider crawled somewhere in him, and he ended up getting throat cancer from it. Spider bit him, and he wouldn't go to the hospital, and I went to go see where he was at, and I couldn't find him. So 2 or 3 weeks later, someone come to the restaurant and tell me that he was in hospice. I said, what? I went to look for him. To make a long story short, he ended up passing away. So we had a funeral for him. I ended up finally meeting the whole family after 4 or 5 years of me taking care of him. I'm talking about I took care of him, make sure he had food, drinks. I stopped going to visit him for probably about 6 months. I couldn't believe I could not find his burial. I'm like, I know I've been coming to this graveyard since about 2013. Where is his graveyard, his gravesite? And I went to looking and looking and looking. And about a week ago, I finally said, no, I'm going to call the city because I know his gravesite should be here. This is it. His name is Alan Brown. I didn't make this up. I said to her, I know where his site was at. I wonder why I can't see it. You know what the lady said to me? She said these things to me. Well, you probably won't be able to find it. You're probably going to need to ask someone. The guys that are out there, just ask him, where is his grave site? And I said to her, well, his grave site really should be where I left his site at 8 or 9 months ago. I just been going through so much, I hadn't made it out there. And she got quiet with me. And it was so weird that I happened to get up this morning and I seen this story just posted a couple days ago. People, family, friends, Queen Kings, things. Y'all pay attention if you come across something like that, because it always has been so weird to me. It's always been so weird to me that you got people that's passed away 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. What happens to their grave site? Like in one cemetery, how do they have so much room for so many people over so many, not just weeks, months, days, over so many decades? Now that I've seen this story, I'm going to fight like hell for the dead, because I know where his grave site was at. And if that grave site has been moved, I'm going to give you an update. And what this lady did, she just fueled my fire. She fueled my energy. And I'm going to find out, was he moved without my permission and the family's permission? Because to be honest with you, his family didn't visit him. I did, because I am his family. It was only me and maybe 2 or 3 other people at his funeral. The apology that this funeral home gave, it was bland. I know some say, yeah, but they didn't know. But the initial action should have been where the apology came in at. Not in the end because you got caught. Not in the end because now I'm bringing awareness. Because where was this same letter before she had to come to the news? There needed to be way better, more damage control than this. I feel sorry for the lady. As you notice, I didn't go sentence by sentence on this because we already know it's wrong. And then to have someone sit in your face and giggle, have them laugh at you, have them pick at you. In a sense, it's picking. And then you walk off. I wonder what the outer chatter was then. Chatterbox. What did you guys talk about once I left? What was it? Because I can imagine when I bring you the follow-up story, they're going to do everything in their power to tell me his gravesite wasn't where it was. And I know better than that. And I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And if you know that you have a loved one and you ever feel like something like this has happened to you, don't stop. Keep going until you get to the truth of what happened. Why is this gravesite moved? People think that some people will take this lightly, but it's not lightly. It's something serious that breaks a person's heart. And then for them to disregard you, dismiss you, just basically dismantle all your friends. All your feelings. It's called the no-no for me. I could have went in a little deeper on this story, but it's enough hurt there. If something like this have happened, or you feel like this has happened, don't let it go. This is what people do. They shoo you under the rug, and they think because they got bigger, thicker pockets than you, that they can shut you up. But no, what I want you to do is dig in your pocket and pay me for my pain, suffering, and your ignorance. This is your girl, Queen Dee Dee with Dee Dee Said It. I say like, share, comment, subscribe. If you don't do anything else, I say get to know me.